Okay. What is open architecture? All right. So this question just popped up. We didn't plan on doing it this month. So I'm literally going to wing this. We didn't think about it at all. But the answer is, what is open architecture? And really, what is open architecture for industry? What does that actually mean? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to illustrate two different types of architectures, right? Because so many people are confused as to what IIoT is. Like, for example, you can have a platform, you can have a solution, a series of a piece of hardware and two pieces of software that all support IIoT protocols, but are not open. Okay? I could use the underlying protocol could be an IIoT protocol like MQTT, but I could, just by virtue of the way that I'm publishing the payload, I could make it so that it only plays nice with the software I want it to play nice with. That is not open, that's closed. Okay?
Why would anyone want to do that?
Well, there's a couple of reasons. Number one, they may want to sell turnkey solutions, completely unified turnkey solutions. Number one. Number two, they may want to own the entire stack. Okay? They may want to monetize the entire stack, right? And number three, it boils down to reliability, right? If I have the same engineering group developing the communications protocol at the hardware layer, the communications client at the HMI layer, and the communications client at the SCADA layer, well, then I have complete control over how that communications performs. But what I'm doing by virtue of developing all three closed is I am essentially locking out a whole bunch of off-the-shelf solutions that could benefit from being able to consume from that data, provide value to the end user. One of the things that we do when we go into when we are architecting solutions for customers, doing IIoT solutions, whether it's IntelliC integration or whether it's 4.0 solutions, one of the first questions that we ask them, one of the very first questions that we ask them is, and we actually say this, show me all your Excel reports. And they look at us kind of blank on the face. What do you mean? And what we say is, I want you to go to all of the decision makers in your organization and all of their assistants, and I want you to give me every spreadsheet that they've got in their personal files. And what's the reason that we care about looking at those things? Because industrial consumers, they use Excel to fill the gaps for data collection and data analytics. When they want to present the data in a certain way, and none of the solutions that they have in their plant can produce the report in the format that they want to produce it, they will create that report in Excel. They'll take all the data, collect it together, normalize it, and then on a separate tab build a report that they're going to use in their daily production meeting. So we ask for these reports because these reports tell us what they want. This is showing us the gaps. This is the gaps in their data. We take data, we turn it into information. So we ask that question. Show me all of your Excel reports. And this tells us what's missing. What's missing is a pain point. And when you're trying to sell to end users, when you're trying to solve their problems, you want to know what their pain points are. So we start by asking, give me an example, show me all the spreadsheets you guys use to make decisions. Okay? Because we can use IIoT to automate the building of those information dashboards. And so you don't have to use Excel anymore. Okay? All right. Back to what I was saying. What is open architecture? So you'll probably have to do that as just one little tangent. All right, so what is open architecture? Open architecture is the concept that everything plays nice. That is, my data can be shared with any platform. Any consumer can access that data, decipher that data, turn it into information. So everything plays nice, okay? We use open protocols. That means not proprietary. That is an organization or a business doesn't own the protocol. Okay, we use open protocols. Okay, what open architecture is the idea that we don't know all of the consumers, and what that means is there may be nodes in our ecosystem. There may be applications built later that will want to consume our data. And so we architect an open solution so that other nodes can consume that data without needing...
Like blockchain.
blockchain's a really extreme example of open architecture, right? A really extreme example. What is a closed architecture? Okay, specific software and hardware play nice. We select the nodes that we are going to go ahead and share information with. Okay, we use closed protocols. What is a closed protocol? Proprietary. Right. So this would be the way the payload is constructed in Profibus, for example, when you're using a Siemens process control Profibus connection.
Or Data Highway Plus.
Right. Or Data Highway Plus or SIP between the SIP between Rockwell solutions. Okay. There are advantages to using those protocols, but the downsides of being closed like that outweigh the benefits drastically now in the Industry 4.0 space. Closed protocols are proprietary. We use proprietary protocols in a now. We could also be using an open protocol, but using it in a proprietary way. So I could be using the underlying protocol could be open, but I'm using it in a proprietary way. And then number three, these are explicit consumers. That is, we know all the consumers of our data from the very beginning. Okay, so when we build it closed, we're building a closed loop system. Think about closed loop PID. We explicitly say where the data is going and who's consuming it. The downside to that is that later on, when another consumer needs that information, we either have to create another explicit connection or we have to say no. All right. So examples of open and closed. All right. To try to illustrate here the difference between an open solution and a closed solution. All right. So I'm going to go back to Factory Talk Analytics for Machines. Okay. Or actually, a better example here would be like Plant PIX. Let's use Plant Packs, right? What is the advantage of Plant Packs for Rockwell Automation? And again, this is a great solution. I love Plant Packs. I'm not picking on Rockwell here. I'm not I'm not even completely totally opposed to closed architectures in certain applications. Okay, there are applications where it's appropriate.